Was Gucci Ma Nuggets? And welcome to the Homie Humpday Show of the Raucous Modern Life podcast, where the episodes are fun, light, and filled with shits and giggles. These sods will be ad-free with less editing to highlight the kagaguan of my friends and I. So if you got time to spare, let's get retarded in here. Homie Humpday. Homie Humpday. Homie Humpday. Homie Humpday. What's poppin', everyone, and welcome to the Raucous Modern Life podcast. If you're new here, I am Rocka, and this is the Homie Humpday Show, a light pod filled with shits and giggles to get you over that mid-month slump. And in today's episode, we'll be covering everything hot in the comic series world. Because, 2021 has been just another shit year, and one of the only few highlights of it is that we've been spoiled with opulent comic action. So today, we will be breaking down the shows, talk theories, and lots of other fun stuff. And today, joining me on this podcast is returning guest and YouTube PH culture phenom, Mr. Ryan Racela, and my other guest is an illustrator, first-time guest, and longtime friend of the pod, Mr. Fras Cui. So, what's poppin', brothers? And welcome to the Homie Humpday Show.
Thanks for that intro, man. I like the Filipino culture phenom. The Keeper Ravenna of Filipino culture.
Dude,
ganun.
yeah, the Kiefer Ravenna of YouTubers, Filipino YouTubers.
And then they won't allow me to go to Japan then. No, parang
Oh,
ganun.
yeah. All right, shots fired at the PH already. Let's go. I love the start. What's up, Fras? Thank you for joining us also. Why don't you say hello?
Sir. Hello. Good evening. Hi. Thanks for having me here. Like, I'm excited. That's all I can say. I'm excited. I'm hyped.
Yeah. All three of us, we've been pretty big fans of like the comic series and movies that have been coming out of late, as of late. And Fras here is actually an illustrator, and he has an Instagram page called at Fralactus, so make sure to hit that up. He does a lot of dope, like different MCU illustrations, and his style is very comic oriented, so it's pretty dope. If you're into comic shows, comic series, comic books, make sure to check that out. And Mr. Ryan Racela is the goat of Tresa breakdowns, so if you guys are about that Tresa life, make sure to hit that up. All right, so why don't we just get into the meat of the show? So I just want to ask you guys, like, how did you guys first get into comics? Because I know that I did when I was about 9 years old, and I went to the States, and my tito, who's he's 60 now, he was like a big comic book junkie, and I wasn't really into it so much, but he had like this huge collection of comic books, and I was there over the summer, and I just started reading through all of it, and ever since then I've been pretty much hooked. And it was something that I kind of kept like in the closet, because back then the stigma was really like, you like comics, what a
You
nerd,
Oh,
what
you
a
geek.
loser.
Yeah.
Like all of the names.
To
So
hide it.
yeah, I had to hide it, but nowadays it's like it's the end thing, like quoting some WandaVision stuff, Agatha all along, it's what's in. So I'm just curious, how did you guys first get into this whole comic book universe?
Ooh. Well, for me, I think through cartoons. I don't know if you remember, but when we were kids, the animated cartoons were the mga X-Men, like Teen Titans,
Mhm.
right? Like it was all these things, even Superman, Justice League. So it was all those things combined with, at the time we were already watching the first three X-Men movies
Mhm.
with like Patrick Stewart, like
Yeah, the
the Halle
OGs.
Berry, yeah, the
Mhm.
OG talaga. So I guess it started from there, and then I just got more interested in the actual comics, mostly X-Men stuff. So I guess
Right.
because I was such a fan of the X-Men series, and I'd play them in the video game, ganun. Yeah, I bought a lot of X-Men comics. So those were my closet comics. growing up. I never displayed any of them because, like you, I was also very, very ashamed. For sure. Like all boys school, but I
Yeah,
would get
Ateneo
bullied
pa.
so hard. Yeah, dude. So yeah, that's how I got into it.
Interesting. Quick question though. Who's your favorite X-Men?
Oh, for sure, Iceman, bro. I actually have a
Iceman.
bunch of
Interesting
Iceman
pick.
comics. Yeah.
Why though?
Like he's an Omega level mutant, first of all. The boss. So he's so powerful. And I don't know, in the movie, he's played by Sean Ashmore. So he's so
Right.
like, diba? Sobrang pogi, so
Pogi,
cool.
pogi
And he has
talaga.
like a thing with Rogue in the
Yeah.
in the movie.
Yeah, right. But
So
then,
Cool.
like,
Cool.
what other cool stuff can he really do? Because, like, in the movies, because I'm not a big Iceman guy,
uh,
I didn't read a lot of his comics. But in the movies, one of the coolest thing he did was like cool up a Coke bottle, and after that, like,
ah,
not a bunch of other stuff. So why Iceman? Like, is it from other series or the comic book references?
I think because the one of the comics I have of him, it's so intense. Like I know it won some kind of like story award because it's about his dad. So I guess like the more emotional aspect of him really got me.
Mm.
But he's also really, really powerful, man. Like he can they showed it in Days of Future Past, but not the first ones. Like his ice slide.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
Yeah.
actually
yeah.
remember that scene now.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so yeah. So yeah, mostly stuff like that. What else can you do? Like freeze people, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, if the name didn't already suggest it. But yeah, like he's
He keeps
powerful.
it cool. He keeps it
Keeps it
cool.
cool. He's chill
Yeah,
lang,
and he's
chill
like an
lang.
accountant. That's his yun yung ano niya, his
Parang day
alter
job.
ego. Oh, accountant. Bobby Drake, the accountant.
Interesting. But yeah, I mean, X-Men's dope. I love X-Men. My favorite is probably Colossus because
Oh,
he's
yeah.
like iconic with that red suit and the
Lost is
silver.
a beast.
Yeah, he's kind of a beast. But okay, not to
Yeah.
segue too far. Fras, how did you get into comics? And like more importantly, well, not more importantly, but more interestingly enough, like how did you start illustrating these comics? Like what made you want to start?
Well, for me, uh, I was always interested with the superhero movies. That was the first thing that I was exposed to. Spider-Man movies, the X-Men movies. That was the stuff that I was always interested in. And then in terms of how I got into reading the comic books naman, there were usually book fairs in school, and I'd find uh these mini magazines in the book fair that they'd be selling, which had really cool illustrations. And so that's how I started like buying that one comic book. But it was grade school, so I had to hide it. So I was like, I
Yeah.
bought it around recess time, and then I was walking back to the classroom, hiding it in my jacket. I was like, fuck, I hope no one sees me like holding this. And then at some point around grade 6 or grade 7, I was reading this comic called Secret Invasion, which is
Oof,
basically
yeah.
about the Skrulls, the shape-shifting aliens hiding around in public. And one day my dad went up to me and he was like, "Did you know that the artist of that comic is Filipino?" And at the time, I was only 11 or 12. So I really didn't think that Filipinos could like do something so big. Like what worked for Marvel? No way. So for me,
Wild.
that was the moment when I was like, oh, I can make a career out of this. I can actually draw for something that I'm really passionate about. So after finding that out, I started going on YouTube and I started watching comic book artists sketching at Comic Con, and then there I was just like super hooked on reading more comic books, trying to find what styles appeal to me and which styles I want to copy from so I can find more of my identity within them. And then after that, I just kept drawing and tried experimenting more and more. And till now, my art style is still growing and becoming more itself than it has before.
Damn. That's crazy, man. And like to think that that Filipino illustrator was the one that inspired this all. And I'm just curious, do you remember the name of
Yeah, I was
this
gonna ask also,
illustrator?
what's his name?
Yeah.
Yeah, his name is Lionel
Oh,
Leonilyu.
is he the
Yeah.
guy who made Wave
What you call
also?
this? I think so. I think he was one of the main artists who
Blue Wave.
was part of creating Wave.
Yeah.
I
Right.
think right now
Ryan,
or
pa-screen
a
share
few
naman
months
dyan para
ago,
our
he was
viewers can see.
Sige.
he was what you call
Wait
this?
lang.
I
May mga
think
sketch mo na.
a few months ago he was
Okay. Sige.
But
like
yeah,
I
you were
think a few
saying.
months ago naman he was illustrating the X-Men comics. Yeah.
Oh, sick, dude. And wow, like the fact that he, oh, okay, this is
Yeah.
Mr. Lionel Francis Yu, Filipino. Um, doesn't say where he's born, but he
There
looks
you
pretty
go.
Filipino. And yeah,
He does.
he well, I mean, he created the Marvel's Daily Bugle newsletter.
Newsletter. Pinoy
Um,
talaga eh.
Pinoy talaga, dude.
Kailangan represent.
Kailangan. But dude, that's sick, man, and that's the goal. I believe that you could reach these heights too one day, Fras. And you were saying that
Yeah.
you just learned over YouTube, and it's amazing how well you could develop your skills over a platform like that. I'm just curious, who was the first comic character that you drew?
Ah shit. Yo. Fuck.
Don't even remember. Okay, switch up the question.
Nah, like
Or okay, you remember?
okay, go. No, go. You can
Okay.
switch up the question.
Okay. Who would you say? Which character would you say? Do you illustrate the best version of?
Damn. Honestly, I really enjoy drawing the Flash. The Flash is such a
Mhm.
such a fun character to draw, honestly.
Why though?
Like I don't know, it's it's his movements. You can be so exaggerated with his poses and how he's running around places. I don't post a lot of the Flash, honestly, when I post on my Instagram, but what you call this, Flash is someone I enjoy very much drawing on my sketch pad. He's such a dynamic character to work around, especially like doing all the lightning bolts and all that.
Right. Yeah, and it must be
Yeah,
like a lot of fun. And
check it out if you
for
want to.
for any of the viewers that are checking out this episode on YouTube, you can already see. But for the listeners, we're screen sharing right now some of Fras's great artwork in his Fralactus page. So once again, I'm gonna tell y'all, if y'all ain't on YouTube, get on it, please. I work on it. So and
Bro,
you get the full experience.
It's so cool. He drew freaking Cyclops in a shepherd's pie.
I know, right?
So, was this like toothpick lang or was it a fork?
That was a toothpick.
Wow.
That was a
Toothpick.
toothpick.
Yun yung canvas
Impressive.
tsaka instrument. Toothpick and shepherd's pie.
Cyclops
Yeah.
spy.
Every time my mom makes a shepherd's pie, I always tell them, "Hey, can I draw on the mashed potato part of it? You know, just before we start baking it na."
Right. Damn, that's sick, man. And honestly, your illustrations are so good. Like, I was looking
Thank you,
over
sir.
some of them a while ago, and I really couldn't tell which one was my favorite. Maybe the Black Panther one, just because of the sentimental value that it holds.
Of course.
But honestly, they're so good. Like,
Yo, this one's so like look at the detail on this one, man.
that's
that.
insane. And are these all through your iPad, or
you.
do you like scan it, or what's up?
No, that's it's on Sketchpad. It's on my Sketchpad. So I draw it. I do it more traditional. I draw on pencil, I ink it, then I scan it, and then every now and then, if I feel like I want to color it, I'll start coloring on Photoshop and on the other coloring softwares. But Photoshop has been my mainstay since high school.
Right. Yeah, and it's like kind of the gold standard of photo editing. Like, of course, there are other applications that can do a bunch of other stuff, but like that one is like, the most basic, but also the most powerful in a sense, right?
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
Special shout out lang
Actually,
to Ryan for
go.
being my screen share assistant right now,
Dude,
pulling
like
up some of his work.
I'm just kind of like lost in the sauce just looking at his drawings, man. Especially like the colored ones, dude. This is
That
so
one,
cool.
yeah, dude. I was actually just about to say that Doctor Strange one looks so sick. That's
Do you
Doctor
still
Strange,
have
right?
this?
I forgot who asked me to commission that, honestly. I forgot
Dude, that's so
who asked me
cool.
to do that for a commission.
Yeah. For the listeners that don't
Yeah.
know what the hell we're talking
I
about,
was
it's
thinking
a
of using the Pink Floyd album for
Yeah.
yeah.
for the art there. Yeah.
Damn, that's so.
That's
And
so dope.
did you just like start this from scratch, or was there a peg that you were working around?
No, like all the stuff I do is just whatever feels like, it to look dope on the canvas. Like I start with a character first, and then I just try to think what would be like the dopest thing to have in the background, and then I just start doodling around and seeing which fits, what I can erase, and then what I can improve on.
Dude, that's so sick, man. And I honestly wish we had like another podcast where I can just talk to you about your like your creative workflow, because it's amazing, honestly. Like I always find it so appalling how, especially with arts like this where there's just like so much detail and so much going on, like where do you even start, man? Like we're just looking at a blank piece of paper. Where do you even begin? I don't know. So many questions.
Yeah, dude, I feel like his brain works at a different level compared to ours. Like we're the types of dudes, you like as in me and Roque, yung mga tipong like stick figure lang sa notebook, like ganong
Oo.
classing dude. And Fras is like the freaking my Mona Lisa nasa in the back of his math notebook,
Yeah.
ganon.
Easy pass for
If
art
you guys want
class.
lessons, honestly, I'm down to I'm down to give like art lessons one day if I
Oh,
can.
Dude,
yeah,
I'd be
dude.
so down, honestly.
Kahit
Like,
yung basics lang, like a lot of people lack the basics.
yeah, we you need the
Yeah.
basics. You need to start
Yeah,
somewhere.
yeah.
Like, I mean, just like with sports or whatever you do, like, baby steps. I mean, I'd be super down for those lessons because I have an iPad, pero tanga all I do is fucking take notes on it. School life lang talaga. Highlight, mga annotations. Pero sayang naman because, like, I know that this can do so much more. But with that being said, I love how you were able to share a little bit of your creative flow, and all for all the listeners and viewers would know already that you need to check this page out because they've seen some of his work firsthand. But for the listeners, you guys gotta hop on at Fralactus on Instagram. That's at Fralactus on Instagram for all of his dope work. But
Much appreciated, sir.
of course, brother. But the real reason why we're all here today and why you probably click this video and this video or this episode and you're like 15 minutes in is because of the comic series. So
Yes, sir.
why don't we start off with the local one? So I'm pretty sure you guys are all aware that Trese came out a couple of months back, and it has been making its mark on social media, pop culture, the hat. I mean, the Nuno jokes and the
Choknat.
choknat. It has been going all over the place. So why don't we start there? I guess first question: how did you guys feel about the cast? Because that's the one that's the most like controversial, and I have my own opinions on it. But I think it's only right that we start with the Tresa breakdown master himself, Mr. Ryan Racela. So, how did you find the cast?
It's interesting you said like controversial, diba? Like a lot of people when they write articles, parang, oh, it's the controversial casting or the divisive casting. Like there's no division. Everyone's like Liza Soberano is not good in this.
Yo,
Diba?
the Liza fans are really like they have your head, bro.
Well, I don't know, man. Like they must be deaf if after this. They still think that she's good in the role, but like my takeaway is it's honestly not her fault. Like she was just
Right.
miscast in the role.
Yeah,
Like she
diba?
honestly tried her best.
Facts.
Like the level of Tagalog she speaks in this compared to her previous stuff, like
It's
it's
night and day.
yeah, dude, it's night and day. But it's still not what it could have been if they cast, I don't know, like a professional voice actor, or not even that, like another artista siguro who can speak Filipino. You know what I
Diba?
mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe
True.
that. Yeah, that's my only critique of the voice cast in Filipino. Aside from that, everyone else kasi they're mga professional voice actors. So they really they really nailed it. Like no comments about that.
Yeah, and I completely agree. Like for me, why did you need to get like this A-list artista when her face is not even going to be seen? And
Yeah.
I did like read up a little bit on it, and parang some people were saying that like maybe that was the character Trese was trying to portray because maybe she's just like us na parang Manileño na
Mm.
Filipino. Pero it's like kahit na, you still could have gotten someone with like a little bit better accent. I mean, no hate to Liza because she did already go out of her comfort zone
Yeah,
by
yeah.
going deep into the Tagalog, and she obviously worked hard on it, and it wasn't terrible. Like it wasn't
Yeah,
painful
yeah.
to the ears.
It,
It
it, it
just
was
didn't.
passable.
Yeah, it just didn't match the face
Mm.
and the tone of everything. I mean, those are my only comments on that. Everybody else was pretty good. I didn't get to listen to the other, like the English one, because of course you have to listen to it in Tagalog.
Mm.
Even though I didn't understand some of the stuff that they were saying, I had to put on those English subtitles. It was for real, like especially when what's the name of the big bad?
Datu tulog basaw.
When yeah, when the Datu came out, he was like speaking some deep poetic Tagalog and
Like
like
balagtas, like non
yeah.
metangere, like language. Oh.
Mismo, mismo. And like I really
Katapwat, diba? So,
dude, spot on, spot on. And like yeah, I
uh,
needed the subtitles, but Fras, I mean, how did you find the cast, like in your opinion?
I mean, same sentiments as Ryan. Like when like entertaining naman. Like when I watched it, I was like, okay, cool. At least they're doing their best. But same sentiments talaga with the Liza thing. Like she was given her script, she did her job. That's good. But they really they really could have gone for someone who was already working as a professional voice actor, right? I mean, understandable naman, like if you wanna gain more viewers, cast someone who who who's already a big celebrity in the country. But you know, we're talking about a show that that not a lot of people are aware about. Maybe comic book fans, they know about
mm.
Trese, but that's the whole point of it. We're trying to get this adaptation, the comic book series, a bit more recognition. And if we're getting recognition, why not also add in a new star, right? Why not add in someone who's trying to break out into the scene, and give her recognition also. Totally understandable to give Liza more on her talent, but it would have been nice because there's a lot of people who are really trying to make their way into the industry, and Tessa could have been such a huge thing to have if they got that part.
Yeah, and I completely agree because I mean, although Liza is a good actress and she's had her accolades and she's made her name known in the industry. Like voice acting is a completely different thing, man.
Yeah.
Like being able to express emotions through an audio platform alone is a completely different thing. Like even when I started podcasting, like I knew that people would already tell me that I have a nice voice, but like when you're actually creating the content and when I compare myself to the professional podcasters and the way that they enunciate, I'm pretty sure Ryan can speak more on
Yeah.
this. I mean, he was a freaking DJ for he is a DJ
Still
for
is, still.
is a DJ for Magic 89.9, but
Mhm.
like being in the radio station, there's like a different level of consciousness that you need to apply to get the emotions and the message sent, and
Definitely.
yeah. So that's why I feel
Straight
like
up.
they should have just gotten like a voice actress
Yeah,
who
but I still understand why they cast Liza, like cast, but why Liza? Like I understand the commercial appeal. You know what I mean? Like to get the series made, you have to put artistas there because I mean, and that's why we don't have a lot of animations also because the idea is it costs so much, but will anyone see it? That's why they
right.
put so many artistas. Even in the previous stuff, like I don't know if you guys watched your high up ka, the
I
name
have
natin
not
na
yet.
ano.
I haven't yet
Yeah, so
actually.
that was like the big animated thing before. It's on Netflix naman. You should check it out. But it was like Piolo Pascual was in it. Like big names talaga. And you have to do that for it to make money, or at least that's the idea.
Right.
But with
Publicity.
Trese naman, I feel like Nadine has the same amount of star power, if not more, than Liza.
Right?
And
Or Catherine.
diba? Or Catherine, exactly. And what they do naman, they can just focus on the voice acting, because like you said, it's a completely different thing. So Liza had to focus on learning the voice acting and learning the Filipino. So just by that, her attention span is split into half, right?
Right.
So sana if they got one of those more Tagalog ones, it could have been just the voice acting. Like, yes, I mean, no, it wouldn't have been as good as a professional voice actress, but sana, diba? If that's the only thing they have to work on, then it could have been better.
Definitely. And I completely agree. I mean, no shame on Liza, because I still think that she did a passable job. Mga C to like maybe C minus. Like if I were to give a grade.
Yeah, passing naman.
Yeah,
Like,
passing naman. Because like
awa,
I was
ganun.
still surprised with her punctuation and like her pronunciation of like, because it's funny that we're critiquing somebody for speaking Filipino, and we're fucking like calling you ass
Dude, no, but
motherfuckers.
if her Filipino is worse than ours, that's like saying something. Bro.
I know, right?
Ah.
But yeah, like any other comments on the rest of the cast, Ryan? Because I know you went through all of the Tagalog cast, the English cast, and even the Japanese one.
Yeah.
So
Comments. Well, honestly, if it's just the acting alone, the Japanese one is the best one. But they're Japan, so we expect that from them. Like voice acting for them is like
That's their field.
oh, it's like planting rice lang for us, or like playing basketball na ano. But then like Pinoy's lang.
Videoke, mga ganun.
Oh yeah. It's so easy for them. And I will say that the Tagalog was still kind of off, because obviously they're Japanese people, and when you speak the spells, it has to be in Filipino, right? Like all the cast did that, so it was kind of weird for them to say, like, I forgot the names of the spells, but like it was in Tagalog.
Yeah.
But their Tagalog spells, it was still better than Shay Mitchell, who did the English version.
Right. Oh
yeah,
yeah.
her, and then Nicole Scherzinger was the mom, so their Filipino really wasn't good. And but then my main issue kasi with the English cast is they tried to have a Filipino accent. If you try listening to it, yeah, they
Sounds
tried,
Mexican.
Yeah, exactly. It sounds
Oh, wow.
Mexican. Or yung iba parang Jokoy Filipino, you know what I mean? With a P is an F, and then there's no
Right.
no T, diba? To D. Yeah, the Filipino. It sounded like that.
Yeah, you did an entire video on that. So if you're more interested in like debunking like the Filipino accents, like hit up Ryan Racela on YouTube. But it's weird, no? Like why didn't? I mean, of course you could apply like the same reason as to why they got these A-list celebrities to voice over the animated series. Like they even had what's the name? The guy that did Zuko, the guy that did
Dante Basco.
Rufio, Dante Basco.
Yeah,
and-
Manny Jacinto is also there. The guy from
okay.
the good place.
Oh, right. See Jason
yeah.
Mendoza.
Yeah, and Darren Chris,
Oh, no
from
way.
Glee, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Actually, parang the entire Versace cast is there, because they did the assassination, diba? And the dude, spoiler alert, I guess, the guy who kills Versace is Pinoy, so his entire family is in the series also. And parang that cast, it's in the
Okay.
Trese cast also. So I guess they say in Hollywood,
Huh.
there are so
Yeah.
few Filipino actors,
Right.
or like big Filipino actors, so they got the same ones. So yeah.
Interesting. Well, I mean, if you want to learn more about the voice actors selected for Tresa, again, you can check out Ryan's videos. But I want to move on to the overall story of Tresa. Personally, I enjoyed it, although except for the ending, because like I think the build up was quite good, and I had no idea where the show was going, which is great because that's how good shows are. Like keeps you on your heels, keeps you like wanting more, makes that next episode bar on Netflix just pass, baby. Just let that binge, like let it in. But on the last episode, I just felt like it was kind of cliche. Like I kind of saw it coming. Like it's gonna be a big bad, and like, oh no, we can't beat him. No more allies, and then out of nowhere, there's gonna be a human that's gonna make an impact, and then they're gonna come out victorious. And I just feel like it was a bit rushed. They could have, like, if they wanted the big bad to be that stereotypical all-powerful big bad, nobody can stop me big bad, then there needs to be a little bit more of a build-up element. And although you could say that they did that with Crispin and Basilio in their younger
Mm-hmm.
days, I just feel like it wasn't enough. Like, I don't even know who
Yeah.
the fuck this guy is. Like, he just came out, he's just big, kind of looks like the Yu-Gi-Oh card, the one with five.
Ah,
What's his name again? But it's like him.
wait,
Like, if for those guys who know Yu-Gi-Oh,
Exodia.
Exodia. He kind of looks like
Yeah.
Exodia and like all powerful. But I don't know. That's my opinion. What do you guys think?
Yeah. Well, the series is so short because it's 6 episodes, and it's obviously wanted to tell a bigger story. So I think either what they should have done is either make the first season longer. So let's say like 12 episodes, diba? So you really flesh out all the characters, or leave it for season two, man. Like
Right.
season one didn't need a big bad. I don't know if you
Yeah.
guys have watched Castlevania on Netflix.
I have
Have
not
you?
yet.
Have you?
Yeah, I've seen
Okay,
it though.
yeah, but yeah, it's a really dope series. In the first season, there's no big bad, there's no like big battle or anything. It's just like a lot of setup. So I feel like the creators who would have thought now, oh, if we don't we don't put like a big bad and like a climactic battle, and it's people aren't gonna like it. But I feel like we still would have loved it because the thing
Yeah.
I love the most about the series was the world building, right? Like
Same.
we talked earlier, like about the
Facts.
Nuno, the chalk nut, everything. Like it feels so good to see your culture represented, and I feel like that alone would have been enough for us to love season one. And then with us loving the characters already, season two could have focused on the plot and the big bad and everything. But yeah, but I'm so excited for season two. I think it's gonna be bomb still.
Definitely. What about you, Fras?
I really, I really think that yes, that season one didn't really need that big bad because I really felt so engaged with how quick they just put you in the world right at the start of the series. Trese already makes that narration that at the nighttime it gets dangerous, and the mythical creatures, they do a lot of like batshit crazy things, on in the streets and everywhere. So you're already filled with that information that, okay, this is the Philippines, but it's not the Philippines we know. This is a more surreal version of it. And the fact that each episode was going mystery after mystery after mystery, that was already dope. It's like it's it it could have, you know that on its own could have been strong enough to get us going. Like maybe at the end of it they could have teased the big bad, because
Yeah, yeah.
next
Right.
next big mystery to solve for season 2. But the first season on its own, it really could have just been that whole detective work, because like like you guys said, finding out about these mythical creatures and the world building was just so strong and rich. It's not that expositional type of, the world is like this because blah blah blah. We have Nuno here because he grew up from blah blah blah. We have the Tikbalang here because the way he entered this world. It's just like it appears and you're just like, what the fuck is going on in this world? I don't know what's happening,
Yeah.
but I fuck with it, you know. So that on its own, that was engaging enough, and I feel like them bringing in the big bad so quick, especially with 6 seasons to just crunch up, it left an underwhelming taste, when the
Yeah.
credits just rolled, and then they bring up another big bad pa in the after credits, diba? So you're just like, oh shit, there's other big things happening pa. So it's just a lot, but still, taking in what was given to us, it's something that I hope gets a season 2. Like, it's a good fresh start for us in terms of animation, and like I hope that everyone can still continue to support it, to let this story unfold more, to let these characters grow, because honestly they're so lovable already.
Yeah. And I super agree with exactly what you said. The world that they set up was really well done, and I'm pretty confident to say that there is going to be a season 2. especially with the amount of hype that it got here in the Philippines. Just from illustrating the roads in Legazpi Village to the
Oh, here,
MRTs and the
this one right
yeah,
here.
that one right there. If for the viewers on YouTube, you can see Ryan's background is the illustration of the Makati skyline on sunset, and it's just so relatable. That's why I'm pretty sure there's going to be a second season to it. And on top of what you said, Fras, the mythical creatures execution. Personally, I found it very good. Like that's kind of like how I imagined them to be,
Yeah.
and they kind of added a little bit of their own takes to it as well. But my personal favorite mythical creature, I think, was the Tikbalangs because they were really dope,
Mm.
and I love how like they kind of, because for me personally, the way that I saw Tikbalangs is they weren't exactly bad because I wouldn't really hear like folk tales of them necessarily like out
Like
there
doing
to
bad shit.
deliberately
Yeah.
hurt you. Yeah, yeah. So parang the way that they depicted them as their mythical creature, they can fuck you up if they wanted to, but they just choose not to,
Yeah.
and that's
They
pretty
have
much
their own thing. They're just
yeah.
doing their own thing,
Yeah, they're
basically.
just doing their own
Yeah.
thing, drag
They're
racing,
vibing.
and like all that jazz. But I'm just curious to hear your opinions on it as well. Like, how did you guys find the overall execution? And why don't you throw in also your favorite mythical creature that was inserted into the series?
Ooh. Ah, man, if it's like favorite one, I'd have to go with Nuno. If you think about Kodaba, I mean, like, what's the picture of my in my head of a Nuno? Like, that's exactly it, man. Like with the nose, and then even the voice acting. It's like I mean, it's not animation anymore, but the way they voice acted the Nuno, both in the English and Filipino. I don't know, like that's what a Nuno sounds like in my head. And yeah, and like they added the. Well, I guess he was in the comics now. Like, he was under like a manhole cover.
Mhm.
Right,
Yeah,
right, right.
that was really dope. And if you zoom in, like all the details on their faces, really dope as well. Because usually when you see Nuno in different medias like mga teleseries, it's like a Yoda. He looks like Yoda or like
Yeah.
some kind of ugly puppet thing.
Yeah, just some hand puppets sticking out from
Yeah,
the ground.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I think this was the first time I saw a drawing of a Nuno, and it's so hard not to sound so konyo when you're talking English, and
Yeah.
the tikbala.
The Tikbalang, it was like really
The
cute.
Nuno.
But dude, I mean, just plain
Yeah,
facts.
yeah.
Like that for me, that's exactly what Anuno would look like. But I'm also curious because I know that you guys read the comics. How loyal is it to the actual series?
I think like the first two episodes are pretty like straight from the comics. Straight from like the first comic. But then the next ones they pulled from different like the third one and the second one, gonna.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know if it's like as a narrative, it's not faithful as in the entire thing, but
Okay.
like as individually, like it does things pretty spot on.
Mhm.
The
Right.
the drag racing one was straight from the comics, and I love that, man. Like all the tikbalang stuff basically from the comics.
Yeah, it was A plus. What about you, Fras?
For me, I don't remember much of the comics. I was like my dad showed some of it to me when I was around 11 or 12, so I don't remember story at all. But in terms of faithfulness in the art and character design, fucking spot on, dude. Like when you see the twins, when you see Tresa, when you see the creatures, you're just like, holy shit! Now you're seeing them animated and coming to life. It's bizarre, like you wouldn't think. I bet a lot of creators wouldn't think talaga na when you create something to have it adapted live action or animation, you know, that it would actually happen. When you make something, you're just like, this is something I made on paper. I'm proud of it. And then you see it happen and it's right there before your eyes. You're just like, holy fuck. This is bizarre. So
But
in terms of
Fras,
like
like
the art direction, man,
yeah.
it's
So it's
it's
like
cool.
it was pretty loyal naman to
Mhm.
the style of illustration that they had in the comics.
Oh yeah, I'd say pretty close. The like right they're promoting it as an anime, but the art style isn't really totally anime. Like
Right.
I'd have to
Yeah.
say, if you look at the art style, it's one of those, those old 2000s cartoon TV shows. Not saying it's a bad thing, but it that to me gave something fresh naman to look at, because in like, I don't know, it hit
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
nostalgic sense of like what I like about cartoons. Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
not as
Exactly.
flashy as most animes now, but it's not like, you know, like Naruto or Attack on Titan, or
Right.
you know, the other big animes that are coming out. But it's so simple, and I feel like they really worked hard to make each frame look so aesthetic as possible, to make it look like, uh honestly, I'd say wallpaper worthy shit.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's how
Like this shit, bro.
that's how much I like
Yeah.
the framing.
Yeah.
It's like wow, the colors are so, it's so, I don't know what to say anymore. I'm getting like caught
Yeah.
up
No,
with
dude.
the
But
imagery, but
it
like the
was
colors
such
of Trese itself is so,
like dude, like you're so spot on what you said
yeah.
about like the late 2000s animation. Like I never thought about it, but then it kind of looks like Young Justice or Teen Titans, like
Mm,
that type of animation.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
dude.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Uh,
it's really brought back like a nostalgic yung mga tipong television after school when you get home and you're
Or
eating
like on
merienda,
Saturday,
or on
ganun. Yeah.
Saturdays. And
exactly.
I think,
Yeah.
I mean, for all of the like the hot takes on it, I still super enjoyed it, and I'm 100% going to watch the second season, and I'm pretty sure you guys can agree as well.
Yeah, yeah, dude. Like it's not perfect, but then
Good.
it's
I'd jump on it.
yeah for like a Filipino thing, man. Like that's
Yeah.
the bad. Like the criticism is like, oh, don't judge it as a Filipino thing, but like it's the first one, man.
Yeah.
Like we waited so long for something like this, and like I don't know. Like I hope that it's the first of many. Like that
Mhm.
after they see how much people love this one, we get more and like of different things. So that's
Yeah.
my biggest dream for
If there's
Filipino
one
animation.
if there's one thing I can like add in terms of like, you know, why to watch the show, if that's cool, I just remembered going to this art workshop. A Filipino artist that also worked for Marvel was doing the workshop, and then he was talking about Filipino culture, and he said like when he was working in America, when you ask, you know, people like what's their first impression of the Philippines, the the two things that he'd mostly hear is lumpia and adobo. And he was saying that food is always the first thing that comes into to people's minds when the Philippines is so rich with culture and mythology. So, you know, the fact that this is here right now, like cherish that shit, yo, because it's special, especially like to us who have grown hearing these type of stories, and seeing and you know, seeing this type of like pop culture like unfold. You know,
Yeah.
it's something worth getting into.
Definitely. And I feel like there's so much potential, so many different directions that they can go from here. Like you said, like our culture is so rich with food. Maybe we could have like a Pinoy food wars type of thing. Or like our country loves to play sports. Maybe we can have more sports like animated series come out in the future.
Oh,
You know,
actually, there was, dude. There was one.
yeah, the barangay
Yeah, but it's terrible. Yeah.
yeah. We can just forget that ever happened, right? You know, it's only
Yeah.
upwards from here, and you know,
Nga.
hopefully one day we could reach the standards of, you know, the gold standard, which is Marvel, and with also so happens to be our next topic for today's
Hey.
episode. So there's been a lot of stuff going on this year, this 2021, with Marvel content, and the nerd in me is just like jumping for joy because all of them have been like spectacular watches. And if you guys haven't seen them, I strongly recommend hopping on, especially on the television series, because it just brings this whole new dynamic to this Marvel Cinematic Universe, and they get to put cliffhangers in every episode versus in movies where there's only one pretty much at the end of the movie. So it's just a whole new dimension to it. So why don't we start with the first series that came out this year, which is WandaVision. And the way that we'll do this format so that we don't take too long is, why don't we each say our favorite moments from each show. So let's start with WandaVision since it was the one that came out first. And my favorite scene or moment definitely has to be the finale of WandaVision, where, and specifically Because I mean the finale was great because it was like pretty much the only one where real action was going on, and it was like a Marvel series, so it's like you've been kind of waiting for that whole thing, and especially since the early episodes were puro sitcom references, which was great. I loved it. It was like a whole new take that they had, but the final episode wherein Vision and Vision like had that convo, you know,
White
the
Vision
yeah,
and
White Vision, the ship of Theseus, and it was great. Like it was so
yeah,
dope how they had that android conversation and how they're all so smart, and I don't know, and also the grief convo at the end of that episode. You know that famous
Yeah.
life. If what is love but not grief persevering.
yeah, and that
It's
became a
just-
meme, no? And like
Yeah.
the persevering stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, that was my personal favorite moment from that show. What about you guys?
Mm.
It's
Ah,
okay also to say the same answer. No shame.
yeah. No, like
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know if I have a moment because I just love like one episode in particular. Like I honestly love the sitcom stuff
Okay.
more than the actual like the finale. So I don't know
Okay.
which episode it was, but it was the one with Quicksilver's in it.
That's like episode 3 when they
Three,
were
I
like
think. Like
parang
Malcolm in the Middle.
Malcolm in the Middle
That one.
vibes. Yeah.
and I guess because nostalgia also, because that's like I was a kid watching all those things. Like see,
Yeah.
Quicksilver was he had like puka shells on,
Right.
and
right.
then you want the language and like the trick or treating and stuff. And it's also where the twins get their powers.
Right.
So
yeah.
yeah. And then your mind's just blown but by all the possibilities they could go into, like all the
Yeah.
theories now. Oh, are the kids of Mephisto gonna
Mephisto.
are they gonna join
Yeah.
the kid Avengers or whatever?
Yeah.
So yeah, so I guess that episode, and I was kind of let down when we found out that
Ralph Boner.
yeah, si Ralph lang, si X-Men
Well,
Quicksilver.
Tangina,
Bro.
si Boner. Yeah,
Si
that was so
Boner lang
that was
pala.
such a fucking paasa shit.
it's just
Yeah.
a throwaway.
Yeah. What about you, Fras?
For me, honestly, the introduction of the twins, like to me, that was something that I've been waiting to see for such a long time.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I'm not gonna get into detail. I'm not gonna get into detail about who the twins are, because like the MCU is still gonna like unfold stories about them maybe, but in the comics, the twins are such a huge part of Wanda's life, and such a huge part in terms of like where the Marvel comics go. So seeing them like born, like you just for me as a comic book enthusiast, like I was just like, shit, we're finally getting here into the universe. Like I can't wait for like I sound so vague right now about the twins, but it's just when you know these characters from the from the content, you and then you just see them like being brought to screen, you're just like, oh shit. You're already like, for me, I'm thinking of the other like comic book storylines that I've read that included them, and it just gets you hyped thinking, is Marvel gonna go in this direction? Are they gonna like make the kids like become a bigger part of this universe? But just also seeing that side of Wanda too, that motherly side of her, was just something so nice to see, because we've always seen her grieving and so sad with the things that happen in her life, especially like with Vision, with her brother. But to see her having a family to care for is something that I really liked seeing. Especially it showed a lot of like the talent that Elizabeth Olsen could do,
Definitely.
besides just play, doing like hand gestures and and just crying, if I can say that. It just showed like she has a heartwarming presence that just feels like, oh, she really cares for everybody in her life.
Yeah. And I completely agree also with that, because I feel like WandaVision is actually the show that deviated the most from Marvel's like typical formula of introduce the character, make them go through some conflict, make them resolve it, and then break them down all the way to their lowest self and then rise from the ashes. This one was kind
Yeah.
of like a different take on it. It was someone who was already broken and how they picked themselves up, and then how it all got crashing down. And like you said, the um the incorporation of the twins is actually a very vital part to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, because they were part of like the Young Avengers and like a bunch of other like crucial storylines in the MCU. And it's just interesting to me, and that they, including them here in this film, because in the series, because I like I said, it's a different take on Marvel, and there's so many different directions that they can go from here. That's what makes it exciting for me. Um, and then shortly after that, the Falcon Winter Soldier series was released. So since Fras, you were the last one to speak, why don't you start this one off with your favorite moment?
Ah, damn. Okay. Like, I know we, like, a lot of us, like, what you call this, could, like, probably say, like, or like, a lot of people who were like listening and watching could probably say, like, when Sam finally becomes Captain America, or what you call this, or maybe the moment when Walker goes unhinged and all that shit. But for me, it's that moment when Bucky saves the politicians, and then one of the politicians goes, "Thank you," shakes his hand and says, "Thank you." Because for all of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, you start off with Bucky, soldier, a hero, and then dies, and then he just instantly becomes this murder weapon, and then he's now troubled by this past that he can't forget at all, because under the he was under mind control, and he's just basically just a viewer watching all this shit happen. And up until like he went into Wakanda, and up until Endgame, he like he said, he's been going from one war to another. And at the start of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, he's at war with himself. Can he redeem himself? Can he accept himself from all the crimes he's committed? And then that one moment when he does save the politicians and then gets that thank you, like, to me, I was like, fuck yeah, Bucky's a hero.
Right.
He's finally getting that treatment that he's probably wanted, like, maybe like when he became a soldier, right? He really just wanted to help out others, and now he's back on that purpose that he strived for, which is honestly such an amazing thing to see.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great moment actually. Like that moment actually completely flew over my head. Maybe because of all of the other things that were going on. But you're so right. Ever since the start, after he quote unquote died after Captain America, he's just been deemed as this war killing machine. And of course they showed a little bit more of the human side in Civil War. But other than that movie and maybe like the couple of fight scenes that he had in Infinity War, he was always a good guy, but ready to make pitik at any moment, like perceived
Yeah,
as a threat. And
Yeah.
I guess that moment kind of just filled out his arc, right?
Yeah. And I think this is why the
totally.
series is so important. Like he needed to be redeemed. Like if like as a fan,
The two of
especially
them.
like yeah, like especially if you're like an Iron Man fan, right? Like he still killed Iron
Yeah,
Man's parents,
I
right?
know,
Like
right?
why do I care about them? So that's why we needed the series. We needed to watch him deal with all this trauma and stuff and heal from it. So yeah. But like I guess my favorite scene would have to be when Sam met the other super soldier.
Oh
The
shit.
was his name? What was his name?
Um, I'm not gonna try
Isaiah
to. Yeah,
Bradley.
Yon. There we
Yeah,
go.
yeah,
Isaiah
Isaiah
yeah.
Bradley.
Bradley.
Yeah,
Exactly. Yun. So I don't know, it was just so powerful. Like he can't be Captain America because he's black, right?
yeah.
But he's a perfect super soldier. Like, he could have saved so many lives, but they didn't let him. Yeah, and that was something cool also. Like a lot of people kind of ragged on how it was like major like political and they talked about like
Yeah.
rights and stuff. But I think it was really needed, and especially like how
In today's
America
day
is
and
right
age.
now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And
And
and Sam's the perfect Captain America, honestly.
exactly. And for me, I feel like they executed the message with so much grace. Like, the whole conflict of like Black Lives Matters and how they were able to address it in such a way where it wasn't really like shoved in your face.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
what I found like really good about the show, because
Very subtle. Very
very
subtle.
subtle, very subtle.
Mm.
Because I mean, not to throw shade at the next film that we're gonna talk about, like Black Widow and a little bit of Captain Marvel. It was like they were really shoving in your face feminism movement, the
Yeah,
women
yeah.
empowerment movement. Like there are
Mm.
scenes where it's like all the girls standing, like in Infinity War. I don't know if you guys remember. It's like
Yeah.
super irrelevant. Like Peter Parker was just down, and then Captain Marvel was like, "It's okay, we got you." And then all the girls just like assembled in a line, and then they didn't naman show them fight. Like it was just like just to milk the women empowerment thing. And I feel like the Falcon Winter Soldier did the whole Black Lives Matter statement in such a subtle and graceful
Yeah.
way. So that's why
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. But my my favorite moment is probably not as deep as any of yours, but it was just the simple fact when they showed Madripoor, because that was so sick. Like
Oh
there was like
shit.
Oh.
a city that
Yeah,
you
yeah.
never even heard of, that's like filled with criminals, super high tech technology, and the intro song was Amats by Shanty Dope. So you gotta love it. You gotta love
Lakas
it.
ng amat cool? Cool?
Yeah, like when I first heard it, I'm like, no way, because I actually knew the song because they'd play it
Yeah.
around Katipunan and stuff
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that. So when they played it, I was like, no way, this is so sick. And on top of that, like the whole city that they just exposed, which was apparently there the entire time, was really dope. And Madripoor is probably gonna have a pretty big effect as well on the upcoming film Shang-Chi. So it was just exciting for me. So why don't we move on to the next film, which is Black Widow. You already heard some of my comments from it, but I'll say some of the positive ones, which is the first fight scene with the Taskmaster, because I found that pretty cool, especially on the bridge.
Yeah.
When
With
he
the car
bombed-
falling down.
yeah, with the car
Yeah.
falling down, and I just loved how they incorporated the different fighting styles of all of the different
Yeah.
Marvel
yeah,
superheroes, but subtly. It wasn't like in your face, like activating Iron Man move.
Never.
It was none of that
Yeah.
stuff. It was like you'll just see it, like from the Wakanda claws that she
Oh.
had, and then from spoiler alert, I use the word she, when she flew from like the ceiling, kind of like Spider-Man, and then
Yeah.
did the same
Throwing the shield and
the
stuff.
shield move. Yeah, it was just
Yeah.
super cool to see. What about you guys?
Ooh. Fras, you go first.
Okay, wait. Shit.
I feel like I kind of know your
damn.
opinions
For-
about
for-
the movie then. Like, just from like
No,
having a hard
that's
time finding a
not
favorite
what I
one.
mean.
It's okay. It's okay. Man.
Honestly, um, I guess, my favorite. It's not a deep scene. It's really just something so subtle. But when they were hiding in the vent from Taskmaster, when they were hiding
Yeah.
up there in the vent,
With the
in the
tic-tac-toe and
subway.
stuff.
For me, I just found that yeah, because even though this whole Budapest thing has been talked about throughout the Marvel Cinematic Universe for so long between Black Widow and Hawkeye, and we have no idea what the fuck happened in Budapest.
Yeah.
To get
thought
that
we would get
little, to get
answers
that
here, but
little
we didn't.
glimpse now. Okay, they no, yeah, and then like to see that a little bit that they were hiding in a vent, and Yelena's like, you guys must have had fun, and then you see that there's a tic-tac-toe game. I was like, fuck, that kind of adds more, like when you hear about Budapest, like fuck, it was a wild ride. Like imagine, and I don't know, I'm just like, I'm a sucker for those type of things, the little details that when you watch past movies or past series, and then you're just like, okay, I have a little bit of canon as to like what could have possibly happened, and it kind of heightens the experience of revisiting the story itself. So for me, that was just a fun thing to see in Black Widow.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that scene too, because I thought that we were gonna get a lot more info of what happened in Budapest. Budapest, apparently.
Budapest.
Um, but like it's nice how they still kept it a mystery, because it's gonna entice us to watch the upcoming series, which is Hawkeye. So I expect at least there to be a little bit more context, especially given the post-credit scenes of who Elena's new target is.
Mm.
But Ryan, what about you?
I don't know. I guess my favorite part of the movie was David Harbour. I forgot the name of his character already. I'll know him as David Harbour. He's a dad, the dad of well, they're kind of the
Oh,
dad,
right.
diba?
Yeah. He was
He's
great.
like the Russian Captain America,
Yeah,
basically.
red something.
Mhm.
Yeah, something.
Fuck.
Anyway, yeah. I loved every scene that he was in. He was just so funny. He was kind
He
of
was
like
funny.
he's like an R-rated fat Mr. Incredible. Like you remember, like when
Yeah.
Mr. Incredible was fat, he still had all his strength, but he couldn't fit into the clothes anymore,
Yeah.
and like he's had trouble running. So yeah, like it's all the humor of that, and like you see how badass he can still be. Like he was arm wrestling all these strong dudes, and then they're kicking their ass. So yeah, so
Yeah.
maybe the prison break scene then, if I had to pick a David Harbour
Mm.
scene, but my official answer would be any David Harbour scene.
Yeah, no, he was great. He was a comic
That's
relief
good.
dude, but super powerful, and he had a couple of deep moments too. So, like no problems with that
Yeah,
pick.
and he had a pretty good character arc. Like I think as a character, he grew the most compared to everyone. Diba?
Yeah.
Like he dealt with the shit at the end.
Yeah, no, complete agreement there. Last but not the least is Loki, and although it started before Black Widow came out, it just ended yesterday. So if you're listening to this podcast, I believe I should be able to post this by tomorrow, maybe Saturday. We'll
Hard
see.
worker. Let's
We'll
go.
see.
Let's
We'll see
go.
about
We
that. But
grinding.
we grinding out. It's late na kasi. I'm actually supposed to post this Homie Humpday today, but I don't think anybody's really gonna make a big fuss about it. So, with that being said, Loki just ended yesterday, and we all watched the finale, which was great, and that's easily my favorite moment of the series. Just the reveal of the main character. And okay, so I feel like if you're listening to this, you probably have finished it, so no need for like spoiler caps. But the main reveal was Kang the Conqueror, and although Jonathan Major was already confirmed to be Kang the Conqueror, it's like after the whole Mephisto thing on WandaVision, you're never really quite sure if your predictions are gonna be right. And this is one of the few things where the prediction actually was right, because there were just so many connections to Kang the Conqueror, and I believe Jonathan Majors did an incredible job of just depicting what a powerful but kind of
Straight
lunatic
up.
character this guy is. Like that character introduction of when they were in the elevator and Sylvie tried to like stab him, and then he was
Yeah.
just like blinking basically. That was insane. What about you guys?
Well, yeah, dude, I have to say now about that dude. Like, I feel like if you just read the script, like you'll be like, what the fuck is this, man? Like, how is this supposed to make sense? But he made it make sense. He made it so
Mhm.
believable, and that's something like as a series, they really did so well. Like with the mythology of what's the place called? The they're
Asgard.
not
No,
Asgard.
TVA.
The TVA. Yun. Like it's so hard
Yeah.
to make sense. It's kind of like the Good Place, diba? Like with all
Right,
your
yeah.
things that are
Yeah.
happening.
It's true.
If the actors weren't good, we would have been like, what the fuck? What the fuck is this? But
Yeah.
they did it so well. But my favorite scene would have to be, honestly, I think this is episode 1 when Loki tries to get back to Tesseract, and then he finds out that all the Infinity Stones are just there. They use it as
Oh, right,
paperweights,
yeah.
and he's like, "Fuck, I'm so." Like the whole episode, he's like, "I'm a god. Like I'm above all
Yeah.
of this stuff." And then
Right.
like he's just, I'm not gonna say back down to earth because it's not Earth, but
Yeah.
like back down to reality.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, it was like the
I'm-
humanized aspect
yeah,
of him.
yeah, and even the music, like it becomes this. I don't know how to describe the score, but the score's so good that you really feel what he's feeling.
Yeah, it was
and
like
it's
very
like
solemn.
hopelessness. Yeah, yeah. He's like, "Fuck, I'm out of my league here." So maybe that scene,
No, that was a good one. And they were just using the Infinity Stones as damn paperweights.
paperweights.
Like the
Yeah.
entire, like how many 20 plus movies, all of that leading to Infinity Stones, and it just being used as paperweights, which makes it all the more exciting as to what Kang's actually gonna be capable of doing, because like basically
Yeah.
the entire powers like hierarchy of the first 20 movies are just scrapped out the door. Like none of that's important anymore.
Yeah, like he's the
Yeah.
most powerful we've seen so far, right? By
For
far.
sure, for sure. What about you,
Crazy.
Fras?
Oh shit. There's honestly so many scenes that I really love from Loki, honestly. But I guess it's the moment when Loki wakes up, after getting pruned, and he sees all the other variants of
Lokis.
Loki.
Yeah.
I remember. I remember after watching that episode, I just paused at that shot with all the other Loki standing above him, and I was just like staring at it for 30 minutes. I was like, "What the fuck, gago? They actually did that." Like Loki as a show in total was just me going, "They actually fucking did that. Oh, they're doing that. Oh my fucking gosh, they did that." And like that whole moment, he wakes up, and then you just see how like honestly, if you think about like Iron Man, how it started, and then think about how Loki is now, from this to fucking ridiculous. But the MCU has grown so well that you can let the ridiculous happen, and it just works. Like you see the old Loki, and he's wearing this classic Loki outfit from the old comics, and you're just like, it's so stupid, but it works.
It works. It works.
It works. And I don't know, that scene was just that to me was just like one of the moments where I went, wow, Marvel went from that to this. This is actually happening in this universe. It's beyond me already. But of
Yeah.
course, the finale itself, you know, added more, and I was just like, oh my gosh, what's gonna happen next? Doctor Strange, tell me, dude.
Yeah. And I think this is the only show with the season 2, right?
Yeah, so far
Everything else,
confirmed.
everything
Yeah.
else, yeah.
Confirmed.
Like I don't think there's gonna be a WandaVision season 2.
No, no, no,
Probably
that wouldn't
not.
make sense
No,
because
yeah,
she's
yeah.
probably gonna be like the main antagonist in
Yeah.
Multiverse of Madness, which is coming out later this year.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's just so exciting what they're gonna be able to do with this moving forward because time is now just a concept, and I feel like Marvel dove straight into this. Like they committed to it in Endgame with the
Yeah.
whole time jumping thing, and then they were just like, wait, we could actually build off this and
Mm.
put in a big bad that can kind of narrate the rest of the phase 2 movies, which is Kang the Conqueror. And
Yeah.
it's just, I love to see how they're kind of going full on for this sci-fi vibe where like time is just a construct, like kind of like Doctor Who. I don't know if you guys like watch Doctor Who,
I've
but
never seen it.
Doctor Who is like this English sci-fi series, and it's like it was released like in the early it started way back, and they've been going on since then. But there's this one particular episode wherein they dealt with time, and it was just, they're kind of like treating time in that same approach, not so much in the Back to the Future aspect anymore.
Mhm.
I know that it was kind of like that in Endgame, but now they're kind of changing the pavement. But it's just so exciting because when they open this multiverse, then there's a whole like universe of possibilities. You could bring in the X-Men, you could bring in Fantastic Four, and
Yeah.
they're just it's just exciting. It's exciting.
Yeah, but like my wish sign up for the series is they made it into a movie. I feel like it could have worked as a movie also. Like it's not like a I don't think the episodes work by themselves. It has to be,
Mhm.
you have to
Oh,
watch the whole
definitely.
thing.
Yeah.
And
Like,
I think
yeah.
it was an advantage for me that I binged it all like last night and today. So I got the whole experience straight through. But yeah, but I feel like it could have worked as a movie. There's a big bad. And I don't know if it's the same with you guys, but it feels like the TV shows are still not as big a deal as compared to the movies, right? Like there's that feeling. So
Oh yeah.
I feel like this is movie level stuff, especially
Mm.
what it means for the multiverse. And this is everyone's introduction essentially to the multiverse, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
So I
pretty
feel like
much.
it could have been a movie. Like it's an important thing for everyone to know.
Yeah. I feel like it could have been a movie, but I like the TV show
Yeah,
aspect
yeah. I
personally
agree.
because I like how
Yeah.
every episode there's a cliffhanger. And for me, especially, with Netflix being around for so long, and I've been so used to just binging series, right? Like an entire series in one sitting. I like the curiosity effect it left on me. Like it being
Mhm.
released on Wednesday, and then after watching it, I'm just like, shit, what happens next? And then I have to
Right.
go to
Yeah.
YouTube, and then I have to read up on the comics, like what happened by in this plot. And I don't know. For me personally, I like how it was in the series, and I like the direction that they're going with in the series. But with that being said, I do agree that it could have been a movie because
Mhm.
like the whole plot kind of follows an arc of a movie as well.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah.
I guess there would have been a lot more satisfaction at the end, like finally revealing who the big bad is, and the whole post credit scenes. But yeah, that's my take.
Mhm.
Okay, so with that being said, and after going through pretty much all of um, the movies and shows that Marvel put out, why don't we rank on our personal favorites what it would be? Since I am bringing this topic to the table, I can go ahead and start. So if I didn't make it already pretty clear with my last take, Loki is definitely my number one. Number because I just loved the whole time aspect, how nothing is really real, how they just junked the entire phase one. Like
Yeah.
that power is useless here now, and this is a whole new ball game. And Tom Hiddleston did an amazing job acting. All of the acting was actually very, very good. Owen Wilson was great as well, and they're just the portal that it kind of opened the MCU to is just so important. So that's why it's my number one. My number two has to be WandaVision because I like the alternative take that they had on this show. It was the first series that they did. It left my head scratching for like fucking 3 weeks because the first three episodes didn't tell you shit about what's gonna happen in the actual plot. So I like that aspect of it. It was kind of like Black Mirror-y, like this is a sitcom, but something's off. You're not really quite sure, and especially since it came out weekly, like. After the first episode came out, I was like, "Wait, this doesn't make sense." And then after watching the second episode, it still doesn't make sense. So I like that aspect of it. It kept me wanting more. And then Falcon Winter Soldier would be my number three because I mean it just stayed true to the Marvel formula while touching up on some current social issues right now, which is really cool, and I really liked how they adapted that. And last, and I guess I would say is the least, is Black Widow. I personally did not enjoy Black Widow so much. Maybe I need to watch it again to fully appreciate the film, but I just feel
Mm.
like Natasha Romanoff's character was already so hyped. I mean, she was there since
Mhm.
pretty much the first Iron Man film or second Iron Man film, which is like more than 10 years ago. And we've been waiting for this whole backstory. What happened in Budapest? What is the Red
Mhm.
Room? Like, why does Black Widow have like this thing for Draco, and what is this whole beef about? Because apparently Loki talked about it in like the first Avengers movie.
Yeah.
So there was just so much hype going into it, and for me, the plot just seems so predictable. Like I kind of
Mhm.
knew
Yeah.
what was gonna happen. They were obviously not gonna die, and like with the whole Draco, parang Draco didn't really seem like a very scary or powerful big bad. Like he seemed very vulnerable. For me, like I felt like there was a lot of holes in his character,
Yeah.
and even with the reveal of Taskmaster, I wasn't even that surprised. Like this is just like
Mhm.
a whole other you guys have seen X-Men, right? So like,
Mm-hmm.
with the first
Yeah.
adaptation of Deadpool, the crazy father who turns his child into like some kind of crazy war killing machine, like with
Yeah.
the original Deadpool, Ryan Reynolds. So I don't know. Those are just my takes on it. I wasn't so pleased with it. Maybe I need to give it a second chance, but I don't know. What
Mm.
about you guys? Do you guys have any comments with my order, or like why don't you give your order? What do you think should be rearranged in your opinion?
Dude, I do. I feel like if you have to say like, oh, I need to watch it again. That means you don't like it, dude.
Facts. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
just trying to sugarcoat it for those who do.
But I don't know. I like it naman. I for me Black Widow is the third. Actually, I like well, my list kasi is based on like what I just liked, and I'm not thinking about how good each show was like technically, like story wise and stuff. It's just like how much I liked it mismo. So
That's
for
fine.
me, Black Widow would have been third, and then Falcon and the Winter Soldier for me is last. Not saying that it's a bad show. It's just like I like the others more. So yeah, and then One Division would be my first. Maybe
Mm,
because I'm so biased to X Men, and
okay.
that's what I would say. And I come to Marvel to watch like fucking superhero people fly and
Right,
punch,
right, right.
diba? Maybe that's why I don't like Falcon and the Winter Soldier so much, because they're just like they're
Too human.
believable.
Yeah,
Like they
they
like
are.
they're superheroes that could be, like someone today.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not why I go to see Marvel movies. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I go One Division, and then my second is Loki. Um, yeah, I guess because WandaVision, the format of WandaVision is so different. I don't think we ever seen a series like that. That it starts off like it's a parody of a sitcom, and then it expands. So Loki, I think, just followed the structure of a of an already good series, like let's say The Boys or something like that.
Right,
That
right,
that,
right.
Mhm.
that like there's a plot, and it's a good plot, but it's nothing new. So that's why
It's
I put
formula.
WandaVision. Yeah, like there's a formula. So that's why I put WandaVision first. So yeah, so that would be my order: WandaVision, Loki, Black Widow, and then Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I got it.
They, for me naman, I think, yeah, my order is the same as Rockets. Like I'm so split between Loki and
Yeah,
WandaVision, but I
for me that
think
was a
because
tough pick.
yesterday is just too fresh for me,
Mm.
I'm gonna put Loki on top, and then WandaVision second, Falcon and the
Close
Winter
second though.
Soldier
Close second, right?
Close second,
third,
definitely.
and yeah, close second, and then Black Widow last. And I'm not saying that, like, they were shit. I'm not making it sound like they were bad. Like, for me naman, I uh, I I enjoyed Black Widow. Like it's not the best Marvel thing. Like, if you put it in one of the other phases of Marvel, like like maybe phase 2 or something, it still could have worked. But I enjoyed it nonetheless. But I think, I don't know, after watching Black Widow, I gave it some thought. Because for me, it felt like a different Marvel movie. It's not super, like, it's not what you call this, totally extraordinary, like how Thor would be going around and like doing magic and all that. It felt very espionage-esque,
Hmm.
the movie. But I think, what really made me think about Black Widow a lot more is just because that's the that's that's the last movie for Scarlett Johansson, as far as we know.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
last movie for her, and I was thinking, this is really gonna be her last movie playing the Black Widow character. So I wanted to, like, try and understand, like, like, how I can appreciate it. And thinking about it, I didn't mind at all that she didn't kill, Dracov, or she didn't kill Taskmaster. I totally agree with what Rock said. Predictable. But I think it's just the essence of Black Widow's character from when we meet her, is that she has never really focused on herself in terms of saving people, in terms of, like, who is priority. Like, when we meet her in Iron Man 2, she's there under the orders of Nick Fury to just watch out for Tony Stark, to, just take care of him if ever anything goes haywire. And then Avengers, she brings back, Bruce into the world. She tries to help Hawkeye recover from, Loki's mind control. Avengers 2, she gets with Hulk. I don't know what that could really bring, but she gets with Hulk. Um, but when the Winter Soldier tries to help um Steve, get into get a life, get a love life. And as the series of her characters goes on, she's always trying to, like, help people get a life. And her being at the point where she's now a hero who's lost so much in Endgame, and then to have her try to bring back Hawkeye into the world where Hawkeye is now the Ronin, where he's basically where Black Widow was at the start. They're both basically like how they met each other, and then now they had to, like, sacrifice themselves for the Soul Stone. And the fact that Black Widow chose to let herself go, to let Clint, live that life that he gave her when she started. Like, seeing how in Black Widow, sorry for this long tangent, but, like, now going to Black Widow, how she's haunted by her past, and this time she doesn't choose to run away from it. She's like, okay, I'm gonna mend things with my family. I'm not gonna run away from the Red Room anymore. I'm also gonna free these other Black Widows who are under the mind control. And basically, um, and then at the end of Black Widow, you see her flying off in a jet, and she's out there to help the other Avengers escape from the prison that they're held in from Civil War. So it was really more of like a Black Widow freeing everybody to make peace with her past and whatever could happen in her future, rather than just like, fucking just digging it and putting it under the ground, which is
Yeah.
something that I was just like, okay, if I look at it that way, I can learn to appreciate Black Widow and accept it for what it is. In terms of execution naman, it's okay, but like
Yeah.
thinking about it that way, I was just like, she's still a cool character nonetheless.
Oh yeah. Actually, like not just hearing you say your insights about it kind of made me appreciate the movie a little bit more also, because I haven't watched the earlier Avengers films in quite some time now, and like what you said is exactly true. Like she never really looked after herself. It was always for the team, and she would constantly message, like not message. She would constantly say how the Avengers were kind of like her family, and it just
Mm-hmm.
puts into more impact how she never really had a family, and that
Yeah.
her family, even when they all came together, didn't really like recognize themselves as family, and that yeah, it just adds a lot more dimension to it, and maybe it like made its right stock rise a little bit more for me after you speaking. But there's still a lot of exciting things to come out in the MCU this year, and I'm pretty sure that like it's only gonna go upwards from here, and maybe I mean hopefully none of these other upcoming films tank. I guess to end the pod, I just wanna talk about like what do you think like the current state of comic entertainment is um now compared to what it is before, and how do you think it's going to move in the future, because like there are a bunch of upcoming films that are going to be released this year, such as Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, which is pretty much the continuation of Black Widow, and then you have Spider-Man, what is it, something with home also,
No Way Home.
No Way Home.
No Way Home, where they're gonna get like Molina as Doc Ock, and all these rumors of Andrew Garfield and
Tobey Maguire.
Tobey Maguire coming out, so that should be exciting. Fantastic Four was already confirmed to be in the MCU in the upcoming years. Blade also, so you're gonna dive into
Uh,
that magical universe, which they already kind of touched up on with Loki, like more of the magical, mystical side of the world. So there's just a bunch of exciting things to come. And how do you feel like the MCU is going to progress at this state? Without some of its biggest characters, such as Iron Man and Captain America. Well, I mean, Steve Rogers, Captain America.
yeah.
Hmm. Interesting question. I feel like at this point in time, like it's the MCU is the MCU already. Like no matter what they'll release, people will watch it. Like they have that strong of a vice grip on people today. So, but it's good that they already introduced the next generation of movies, right? And that's something that's so brilliant of what they did, right? Like they set up like they had a plan in mind. Like it was all these years in the making, and then the climax with Endgame, right? And then the launch into all these different things. Like we thought after Endgame, right, it can't get any more crazy than that, but it did, right? Like Loki, so right?
Mind fuck
Um,
talaga. But
yeah,
Yeah.
it's exciting because like all of these nerdy topics that we used to like hide in our closets, we can finally go on an hour and a half podcast and talk about it, because like it's new and it's the hot thing, and it's
yeah.
exciting that
Yeah.
there's so many different directions that they could go for this. Why don't I reframe the question, since it's a little bit vague and a little bit complex to build up on, um and make it a little bit more simple. What are you, or what comic book family or universe are you most excited to see now? For me, it's Fantastic Four, and not because of the Fantastic Four, but because of Doctor Doom. And
Mhm.
Doctor Doom
Yeah.
is my favorite villain because he is like Joker, like cynical but brilliant, but also like empathetic. He has a nice character arc, and I just can't wait for him to be a big bad. It's probably gonna be phase 3 pa, because they're gonna introduce him lang this phase 2, but that's who I'm excited about. What about you guys?
Mm. Dude, I'm just so excited for them to build on WandaVision. Because when you have Wanda, that's gonna be a backdoor to all the X-Men people for sure, right?
Right.
And I've said multiple times earlier how much I love the X-Men. So I just want to see that so badly. And we talked about Billy and Tommy. Like I just want to see them like use their powers in any way. We got like one scene in WandaVision where they saw that they got to use their powers. So more of that. I'm really excited for that. Yeah. So that family, that WandaVision family.
Yeah. Damn. For me, damn. I honestly, I just want to see the multiverse right now, dude. That's so high. Because if those rumors are true, Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, coming back, and maybe like other references to like past Marvel movies that are not under Marvel Studios. That's honestly so hype. Because like, yeah, I don't know. Like, would you ever think you'd see these childhood, heroes that you watched from before to like appear now again, like playing these classic roles? Like, if that were to happen, that would be sick. That would be sick. Just to see the multiverse branch out. That's
Right,
mind
right.
blowing. That's awesome.
Dude, isn't it so cool that only now they can do these stories? Like I feel like they couldn't have made Loki 10 years ago because the special effects weren't that
Right.
great yet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's so smart that they kept it going long enough for the other comic book stories to catch up. And we're not even there yet. There are so many more stories in the comic universe that are way crazier than what we're seeing now. So imagine like 10 years or 20 years from now, I feel like the MCU is still gonna go strong and we'll have the technology to actually adapt these stories.
Yeah.
I'm just so excited for it.
Yeah, it's so exciting. There's so many different paths that they can take. There's the whole mythical aspect that they can go into, especially with WandaVision. Like that's why WandaVision's so great, because it opens so many doors. The X-Men, the mystical side with the vampires and Blade, and all of these other aspects that they could dwell on. So I feel like it's only upwards from here, and hopefully Silla Feige can pull it off. But I think with that about wraps up this episode. So I just want to thank you boys again for joining me in today's pod. Like I honestly had so much fun talking
Oh
about
yeah.
these nerdy topics with you guys and catching up as well, because it's been a while since we all last spoke. And for Fras and Ryan to get to know each other a little bit better. But I think before we go, I think now would be a perfect time for you guys to plug in where people can find you or the work that you do.
You can go first, Fres.
Okay. Well, if anything, if you guys want to check out short films that I make, check out my YouTube channel, Fralactus. It's the same as my Instagram where I upload my illustrations. So, you can follow and subscribe to both of those. It would really mean a lot. Putting out content every now and then whenever I can. So yeah.
Dope. Yeah, make sure to
Cool.
check those out. I actually haven't seen um most of your recent short films. I think I saw one in 2018, 2017 when we teamed together, and that was great. And I'm pretty sure, like 3 years down the road, you must have gotten a lot better with your production. So make sure you guys check those out, his YouTube videos, and you guys saw a bit of his illustrations, but there's much more that you guys can dive into. And I'm pretty sure Fras will entertain any of the questions that you guys might have about some of his illustrations. How did he start this off? Why shepherd's pie? Things like that. What about you, Ryan? Go.
Yeah, for me, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel. I think it's just my name, Ryan Racela, but the show is called Ryan Rambles. I just dropped a video today. It's called The Dark Truth Behind the Thriller in Manila. So yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
It's in the boxing match.
Yeah, dude. Like there's
Okay.
some like Marcos shit behind it.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, because it
That
came
sounds
out.
pretty
Yeah, I won't
interesting.
spoil it na lang, but yeah,
Yeah,
the channel's all about Filipino culture. So obviously, you're probably Filipino if you're listening to this. I feel like you'll enjoy I also have a bunch of Trese breakdown videos. I don't know if anyone else made Trese breakdown videos. I feel like no. So if you like all the Easter eggs and like geeking out on all the things, you'll probably enjoy my videos. And then lastly, I work for I'm a trainer for Nas Academy. We actually have a course launching soon for Filipinos. It's this guy. His name is Anthony. Wait lang, pull up the name. His name is Anthony Francisco. He worked on a bunch of Marvel stuff. So he's gonna teach how to make characters and stuff like that. He worked on like Captain Marvel, Guardians of the Galaxy, Black Panther. So yeah, like this dude's like legit. And he's Filipino. So definitely check out that course if you're into comics.
Yeah, and whether into comics or random Filipino culture stuff, Ryan has got it all for you. And the best part is, it's not an hour and a half long, so you guys can just, just
Yeah.
watch a quick video during your lunch break and
5 to 10 minutes.
5 to 10 minutes long, guys. Check it out, check it out, and don't forget to smash that subscribe button, ring that notification bell,
Ding,
so you
ding.
never miss an episode. And I guess that about does it. So I want to thank you all listeners for tuning in to another episode of the Rockets Modern Life podcast. And if you enjoyed this one, don't forget to share with hashtag RML podcast and hit that follow on Spotify, Facebook, and Instagram, and YouTube so that you never miss an episode. And as always, I'll see you all in the next one. Deuces.